Welcome back to the Anachroschism. When we left off last time, the group had decided basically to take a two-pronged approach to how they were going to, at least on the surface, go after, whatever that entails, Whitwer Thorogood. Tessian was going to go the diplomatic approach, Stuart and Karash thinking about the more sneaky approach, going through the sewers with the help of Gothak. But because it was getting into the evening, they decided to wait until the morning. And as such, later in the evening, Gothak, who you guys paid to go pick up stuff, heads over to his shop, and then about an hour and a half later comes back with a set of clothes for all three of you. Even though Tessian's already dressed pretty well, he decides, well, what the hell? I'm going to give him bang for their buck. Yeah, he's got the nice threads. He's going to pop the jersey. So for Tessian, he's got this nice set of black robes that seem like they might be a smidge too big for him, but they have this really nice gold trim to them. They look pretty fancy. And then there's two dark purple velvety kind of dresses for the ladies. And it's a nice material, and it fits for the area because temperature-wise in the spring, it gets a little chilly in the evening, a little warm during the day, but it's not so thick that it would be uncomfortable. So for the most part, these seem like pretty finely made vestments, and Gothak appears to have delivered, and at half the price for what it was going to be anyways.
Aren't you freakishly tall, and Michelle is freakishly short?
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, that's correct.
I don't know about freakishly.
I mean, not freakishly. I'm 5'7", so...
She's the exact same height as me.
I'm the same size as
Freakishly.
Tessian.
Right,
Freakish.
and Grail is 5'3", which obviously is akin to nothing, or just slightly below average. But yeah, they are a little bit, these aren't just things you can get off the rack. And as such, if you guys go to try them on, you'll notice that for the two of you, it is a tiny bit small on Lena and a tiny bit big on Grail because there wasn't time for custom tailoring. But they do fit, and they do fit pretty well. Again, it's not so off that it appears like a kid playing dress up or someone who is in clothes that they're not normally supposed to be. They just don't quite fit perfectly, but they fit well enough.
I'm spinning around in my dress right now because this is the fanciest dress that I've ever been in.
Yeah. I'm a little overwhelmed because I don't really do this thing at home. So I'm just wow, this is really fancy. I don't know how I feel.
And I'm actually surprised that you are feeling out of place because you just look so fancy all the time to me, and I'm just a country girl, so this is actually really funny.
Yeah.
Are we showing off the dresses, or are you guys just doing it?
What?
We're just doing it. No. I imagine we tried them on and then came out because I am interested in knowing if it's acceptable. I don't know if this will work. So, I'll try it on and then come around. I guess we're in that little back area still. So
it's like the scene from She's All That. So you're gonna put on the dresses and you're gonna walk down, and Freddie Prinze Jr. is gonna look over at you.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get to be Freddie Prinze in this scenario?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yes.
I get to be Kanan. This works. Okay, so
I hope that's the right movie. Even
I think
She's All That. Bring it on.
Thank God you made reference to a 18-year-old film, 19-year-old film. Apologies.
Yeah, but a great
For
film.
nothing if not super relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well,
It took me a second. I'm I was in high school when that. Yep, yeah, I was.
Well, think of the name of the show. So any references we make are A-okay.
So,
Fair
Grail,
enough.
and you gave Karash your little lantern, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I was going to get a lantern from you because I can't see in the dark.
Yes, and I have a hooded lantern that I would just be thrilled to lend to you.
Can we see
But
it?
I would like it back when we're done. And in one piece, preferably.
Can we see it,
Of course.
Grail, please?
Can you see what?
Can we see your lantern, please?
Yes. I'm handing it over to Karash right
come
now.
on.
Oh, my
Giving me
lantern!
props.
My lantern! Here it is.
There
There it is. It's not even
No, it's
flickering
not
now.
off.
Shouldn't even turn it
It's
on.
off.
Method acting.
There we go.
folks.
Yes.
Method acting. Yeah, I have a candle too. Here, it's
If this is the way it works, I have a flashlight. I'm just going to
right.
take that.
Yeah,
Is
my
that
phone
okay?
has a flash. If that's how. If we're going to go deep into the lore here. Was there anything else you guys wish to do in the evening before you went to bed for the night, preparing for a busy morning?
Tessian just kind of wants to. It may sound silly, but take a look at the girls, make sure they look like they belong. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what you're doing, Tessian. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They belong,
Look,
right? Insert
let's
joke
not be-
here.
He's got to be rolling in with these two here. So, like, do they look like they would fit in high society? Like, is there anything weird with the dresses? I'll be honest, Tessie isn't still convinced that this got that guy is 100% for us because he thinks that he stands to benefit a lot from this all working out in his favor. So, like, he's looking for maybe any, like, emblems or things that might be like a giveaway, you know, like maybe if he's got a secret deal with you know, it's just stuff. He wants to look over the clothing, make sure it's all legit, make sure it looks good, that kind of stuff.
I have a question. Should I be doing my hair a certain way tomorrow? Is there hairstyles that would be good? Like, I am clueless to high society.
I offered to try and help you with your hair, but you can tell by the way I say it that I don't really know how to do hairstyles, but I will try my darndest.
Yay!
Tessie's like, well, I could always braid your hair, you know. I'm actually quite good at it.
I'm good at braiding. My hair is currently in a whole, like, mess of braids. But I don't know what the styles are in these town, city places.
Tessie's like, well, I know in Black Harbor, usually braids are typically well enough as is. It's it's not too complicated for most of the folk to pretend that they look quite well while being rather cheap. So it usually works out in the long run. But
all right.
He's like, but the more fanciful, the more braids, that tends to show a dedication to the look. It's not something you would see in a traveler or an adventurer wearing. So the more elaborate, the better, I would say.
Karash, do you want to braid my hair too?
Stuart, next time we have a chance for society and these sorts of dealings, remind me of this, please, and I will never go.
I feel you. I feel you, friend.
I do not understand.
Testing, go ahead and make an investigation check.
I will do that.
Investigate.
As his face lights up in the dark.
It's a clan hood and a clan outfit. Looks good to me.
Oh, God, no.
I rolled a 10. I got a 10.
You take a moment to kind of inspect the dress as best you can without seeming untoward, as they are still currently wearing them. But just kind of pulling out some of the fabric and kind of seeing what the exterior looks like.
I'm a little untoward, by the way. Maybe a little.
Okay, that's fair.
Not too much, but like, I don't know. He's not like shy around like female bodies, I guess would be the way.
Tessie and the rake.
Anyway, so yeah, does he notice anything?
Does he slash like a leg slit? No, this won't do.
That's not high enough, Rick.
Right, make it a short skirt. And just... taking a moment to inspect them, there's nothing about them that really stands out as far as any emblems or logos or distinguishing marks on them. If anything, they almost seem maybe a little bit plainer than you might expect some especially esteemed nobility to be wearing, but they look like they're decent enough. They say like, we come from money, even if it's fairly obvious that it's not like we're really rich. It's above a commoner status for sure. But nothing about it really stands out as like, there's not like a Gothak logo on it or anything of the sort. He's not trying to go for some advertising on the back. He's scrounged up something that is pretty decent, maybe not quite as noble as you might like, but given the short notice, probably about as good as you're going to expect.
Tessian kind of thinks for a second and looks at it, and he's like, you know, I'm concerned they might look too new. We could dirty them up a bit, maybe make them look a little more worn in, although they are your dresses, and I wouldn't want to do that without your permission.
Grail's confused by this sentiment. Aren't they supposed to look fanciful and new? I'm confused.
Lena's also kind of, she's going to voice that as well.
And Tessian's like, well, yes, but how long have you been dressing well? Is this something you bought just the other night? Is this something that you wear all the time? How well worn your dress is can sometimes say a little bit about how often you wear it.
You look new enough.
Stuart,
My
drink
God.
bar now.
Bye.
If our biggest problem is the dress looks too new, it's going to be a pretty good thing, I think.
Tessian is like, appearances are everything, my friend.
And Tessian, as you're kind of sorting this out, you also notice, I guess it's a delayed part of that check, but like, this was good to have done this tonight because they don't look like they don't belong in the clothes, but it does, like, getting the initial like wow factor and the fish out of water feeling out of the way tonight will probably prove beneficial in the morning because as you're having this conversation and a little bit of time passes, they do seem more at home in them, whereas when you first put them on, it was kind of like, they clearly don't seem right for this. So there is kind of a benefit to having done this way because now, as they've kind of been in them for a little while, it does seem like it's more appropriate. Now, they don't look like they're not going to start carrying themselves and pinky outing when they drink and things that are, distinguished factors, but they don't seem like they're completely out of place.
I know. I'm like nervous that I'm going to need like an etiquette lesson or something for real because if we sit down to any kind of meeting with this guy, who knows? I'm scared. I'm really nervous.
Grail, walk up to Tessian. Pretend he is Thorogood. What would you do? How would you greet him? Let's see it right now.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give it a shot. I leave some distance, and I do a curtsy. I don't know if it's good. I should probably roll for that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and make a performance check.
Okay.
Yeah, curtsy check. Let's just do that.
A curtsy check. Okay, just a second.
I'm
Oh my
gonna
god, there's literally a fly in my face. Okay, it's gone
I'm
now.
going to start carving the symbol of cord into things around the room to keep myself from going insane.
Okay.
That's fair.
But I'm going to be polite about it and try and do it on the undersides of things so nobody notices when we leave,
Yeah.
All right.
14.
Okay. A few steps forward, and it seems like there is some hesitance on the part of, like, which foot should be forward. Like, you know this gesture, but it's not one you've ever performed before yourself. But you're able to do a pretty capable job of it. Again, it's to the point where it shouldn't seem like a red flag. It looks like somebody who's a little bit uncoordinated who might fall over in the process, but nothing nothing, again, that sticks out like this woman has no idea what she's doing.
Yeah, I feel like I've at least acknowledged and kind of observed other people as I've gone through, different towns and stuff. I probably have somewhat of an idea, but I could use some some freshening up, I guess, some practice.
I'll practice with you. Just to make sure that I can also
I just imagine us like curtsying to each other like over and over again.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty good, but you made one mistake. It was kind of a trick question. I would just say, as a nobleman, let Thorogood lead. If he goes out for a handshake, don't curtsy at his handshake, return his handshake like you belong there and like you've done it before. If he just says hi from the distance, I don't know, Tessian, I think the curtsy's fine.
Tessian's like, yes, that's just fine. Just as a general rule, honestly, just be yourself. You're not exactly expected to be, well, no offense, but you're going to be accompanying me. I'm the one with the title. You're just there as my company. You don't exactly have to pass the highest bar.
You're just eye candy, is what he's saying.
No offense, but...
No. Hearing this, I definitely let out a sigh of relief. I think this has been kind of a stressful scenario for me. And I just say, all right, that helps. I appreciate it.
Just be yourselves, but not too much.
Not like really yourselves. Like turn down to like 7.
Perfect.
Tessian will, he's like, Grail. And he'll pull out that pen that can turn into a dagger. And he'll be like, you may want to hide this on your person, perhaps in your hair, just so that you are not unarmed, as you are not capable of casting magic like Lena and I.
That's a fantastic idea. Thank you. I'm going to take that from you. Put it in my inventory.
Do you want to hand over your weapons to us now? We will carry them through the sewers and give them to you on the other side.
I mean,
Gosh.
Yeah, basic weapons? A dagger, a knife, a sword?
I mean, I guess I can ask Chris, is it going to be like, if I show up with daggers in my boots, are they going to be like, what are you doing? Or is that pretty normal for some like high society? Like if it's not being hidden or anything, like I guess that's, I don't know. Like how dangerous is this? Like the kind of noble place where people would have like, guns on their hips or the equivalent? Like, do they care or?
How prominent are we talking on your exterior? Are these like fully visible, partially visible?
I mean, my daggers are just in my boots. Other than that, I have a crossbow. I probably wouldn't bring the crossbow, but just the daggers.
And on the inside of the boots?
I imagine they're kind of just on the outside of the boots.
I guess my thing is,
around.
even if it is typically like acceptable, this guy seems super paranoid. I would think that might make him skittish.
I agree. I guess it's just like how normal is it, or is it even a little weird to do? Because if it's a little weird, then I'm not gonna do it.
In a typical situation of, say, just a normal gathering of nobles, it would be somewhat out of place.
Okay, then yeah, Tessian will leave them behind then.
Particularly because a large percentage of nobles are magically gifted, so the idea of bringing physical weapons on your person is like an additional threat that would be perceived as such by just casual get-together. There wouldn't be a need for them in most get-togethers. In a case of this, Sean may be on point. Like, at the very least, they might be confiscated as you went to go in, if not taken as something even more serious.
Okay, then yeah, Tessian will definitely hand over his weapons.
Yeah, I hand over my rapier to Stuart. I say, take care of it for me.
Are you going to hide your dagger on your person?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take it with me, but I'll put it in my hair when I do the hairstyling tomorrow morning.
What about your other dagger?
The poison dagger? Oh, that's a good one. I could probably put it like somewhere on my thigh or something like that, like strap it down. I don't know.
Okay. Miss Congeniality, got it.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Gun, right. And then Lena, you're going to hand over your staff?
Yeah. I think I have a dagger listed here too, so I'm going to hand that over as well.
Okay. All right. Armor as well. We'll make this simple for the sake of we'll give them like link powers where you can carry a bunch of it without you guys being like burdened by it.
Now, Tessian, did we decide this is me, Sean. Hi.
Hello.
Did we decide that we should go in, like, especially now that we have a night before you guys are going to go? Should we go, or are you afraid, like, if we get caught in the sewers, that could make everything blow up? Like, you wanted to try to do these as concurrent as possible, right?
I mean, your reasoning is probably why we should do it concurrently. Okay. Because if you get caught and that like raises security, that's a whole like if we're on the inside and then you get caught, it might look bad, but like then we're at least inside the past the gate and maybe could help you. Whereas if you get caught and they up security and we can't get in, you're just stuck back there.
Sure.
So
all right,
yeah,
just checking.
Okay, I think, and you guys can audible this, however, but I think the sewer group was going to go in like an hour before or something like that. That was mentioned last time. But
you have to travel farther to get there.
And we have no idea what's going to be in our way too. So
yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else for the evening?
I'm going to go to Grail and ask if she can help me with my hair in the morning.
With my zipper on my dress.
I mean, sure, yes.
Yeah, like what do the dresses look like, by the way? Are they like corset-y, foofy dresses? Or are they like...
Or are they like slick? Yeah. Or
yeah, are they like slick casino, like...
They're mermaid dresses.
I mean, they're not like cocktail dress slick where it's, like clinging to form, but they're also not... They're sort of like a hybrid of in between. They're also not like the frilliest, poofy hoop skirt abominations that would almost be difficult to move in, especially for people who were new to them.
Yeah, I imagine like those medieval dresses that have like the long sleeves and they kind of have like the billowing kind of sleeves. I don't know if that's right or not, but they're just kind of more simple but pretty.
It is now.
It's all from the derelict line.
Yes.
Just trash bags.
But anyway, I will respond to Lena that I'd be delighted. I'm better at working with other people's hair than my own, so it's always fun for me.
Yay. That's all.
Rating.
Okay. A somewhat uneasy but still full night's sleep comes to you, just because it's a somewhat high stakes day tomorrow. But everyone gets a full night's rest. Everybody gets all their spells back because you spent so many the day before. But you're going in full hit points, full hit dice, all spell slots, all that jazz. Everything's recouped and ready to go. So morning comes. You all kind of wake up about, we'll say, I don't know, 7 o'clock or so, which it's a pretty early dawn this time of year still. So it's a little bit after dawn. There are some breakfast foods prepared downstairs. You do not see Mina. It seems that she works the afternoon/evening shift. So there's a different person tending the downstairs area. There's also very few people in it. There's like maybe 4 people total. Seems like business picks up as the day goes on, which is not really surprising. But there is some food available if you should want it. And then I guess the question is the sewer group ready to head out?
Hell yeah.
The sewer group.
Sewer boys.
SEAL Team Sewer. Ready to go.
So not too long after you come downstairs from your rooms and whatnot, Gothak makes an entrance and immediately sits down and starts eating a pretty large plate of food, which is not shocking given his stature.
Is it 5 dozen eggs?
No.
Is he roughly the size of a barge?
Because I feel like he is roughly the size of a barge.
No, that's how you get huge cholesterol issues. Don't do that, kids. Please don't do that. So, I guess the question is, if Crash and Stuart come down, are they ready to go?
Yeah, should be good to go.
And I'm like antsy to go. Not just like ready. I'm like, let's get the show on the road.
All right, so Gothak offers to lead you to the entrance to the sewer that's in the middle of the city. And just as a point of recollection, there's basically the 5 of them in the cardinal directions and then one in the center that give access to the sewer system. Even though the tunnels kind of run throughout the city, there's 5 major points at which you can get entry pretty easily. So it only takes a few minutes of walking to the east of this centrally located gilded alehouse to get to a fairly nondescript looking, almost like shed. And it's not locked, and it kind of fits with the description that they offered you the day before with, like, they don't expect people to be going into them, whether it's because they're scared of the myths that supposedly happen down there or just the fact that it's decrepit and gross. Door's not locked.
Whitefish the size of horses.
Could be. I mean, depends on what stories and tall tales you listen to, but it is not difficult to get access, and he kind of directs you inside. Inside the shed is a staircase that leads down, and taking a couple steps down, you start to see that, like, everything just starts to feel damp. The air is a little damp. The floor, the walls are a little damp. There's also, like, a hint of mildew. It's just, again, like, untraversed, and now at this point, there's just this steady, light flow of what we'll generously call water flowing through. As the stairs level out and you get into like the sewer main area proper, there is a decent width platform, maybe 6 or 7 feet on both sides of this tunnel, and then in the middle, maybe about 5 feet across, there is again this flowing water. It looks watery mostly. There's some off color to it, but it's waterish. Pretty much everything is cobblestone. So it makes for secure enough footing, but it's not completely smooth on any of the surfaces, the floor, the walls. And Gothak says, all right, well, mind your step. Footing can be a little slippery in this area. And we're going to have to head north to get there.
I put on my mask. Do we have a compass? It's not really like it's like, do we have a compass? And if I need to actually ask Gothak,
I don't think anybody would have a compass in their standard adventurers kits or anything.
Would we need to just not know which direction north was relative to where we just came down?
Yeah, that's essentially the idea. And
okay,
you can tell from the way that you came in, like you have a sense of where north is.
Okay.
You'll have to take lengths to make sure you keep track of which direction that is as you make lefts and rights and whatnot, but you know which direction to head from the beginning.
Yeah, that's more like why I was saying a compass.
Yeah.
Not going down 3 steps and saying, where are we?
Oh, God.
But, all right, yeah, I'm ready.
No, because you can just tell from, like, okay, as you were going into the shed, you can see, hey, there's the manor. That's north. So when we go in, that's the direction we got to head.
So, like, how many feet can we see in front of us with the lantern that we have?
Probably about 60.
Okay. Oh, that's not bad.
Are we going to just do one lantern, or is somebody going to light a torch too?
Do I have a torch? I'll light a torch if I have one. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if
And
you
who's
wanna-
going to be in the front, Gothic or me, or do we want to put the guy with guns up front?
Put Gothak up front. He kind of
Yeah.
knows.
He's expendable.
He can get
Meat shield.
I mean, he's a good leader.
He knows the way. He's more familiar with the town and stuff.
He can eat bullets just like anybody else can.
His life means the least.
God.
So as you guys are kind of making your way through, occasionally you have to make a turn in a certain direction, and it's not too difficult. It's not super labyrinthine. There are different paths in different directions, but for the most part, like, your turns are not so frequent that you're having a hard time keeping track of which way you're going. There are moments where you almost feel like your foot wants to give out and like slip, but because you're not going at a super brisk pace, you're able to keep your balance pretty well. But Gothak occasionally chimes in with stuff like, hey, watch your step here, and you can see like some of the stone is a little more eroded or ready to give way. But he even mentions the fact that sewer system, again, in the triple digits as far as years old, goes back to when the city was founded, which predates pretty much everybody living in it. There are a couple of exceptions for the races that can live longer, but for the most part, people haven't been down here in their lifetimes. Everybody make a perception check, please.
Oh god, oh god, oh god.
Goddamn right.
I have to roll for Gothak.
What? We're rolling?
A natural
Oh
one.
my god. Oh god.
I realized I might actually have a compass, because I have navigator's tools.
16.
6.
Oh, I should have navigator's tools too, actually.
That makes sense given your seaworthiness.
Yeah. Oops.
Well, if you have a compass, then that's...
Yeah.
Well, that depends on whether or not you decide that navigator's tools need a compass, or whether it would just use the stars and other things to find position at sea. So it doesn't say if it
Sextant.
does or not. Yeah, a sextant and whatnot. So
Okay,
Well, I rolled a 6.
right.
16.
Gothak got a natural 1, so he's seen even less than Stuart. The two of you seem hyper-focused on just keeping track of which direction is north to the point where you're not really seeing what's around you.
I apologize. 3. I have no idea. 3. Don't mind me.
Good.
Wow.
This is
We're
really,
gonna get
really
lost
good.
down here.
I can see how those numbers look the same.
No, I for whatever reason had me back like a bajillion rolls ago, and that was the last roll I had for some reason. So
No,
don't.
you're method acting. It's fine.
Yeah. Perception. Okay.
As you guys are walking, all of you are sort of trying to keep tabs on which direction you're headed. And as such, you don't really see, but there are rats that occasionally flit across your path and then scurry out of the way. They're not trying to attack you or anything, but they do seem off-put by your presence, and they're, like checking out what this is and then immediately scurrying back off. You also hear, but don't really have an idea where, what sounds like a couple of snakes. It's just like whatever's happened down here, there are creatures here that are living down here undisturbed, and your presence seems to be riling them up a little bit.
Good.
Hopefully no basilisk. I read the book one time, Garash. Basilisk in the sewers. One look, you turn to stone. It's pretty bad, right?
He is a fan of lightning-based scars.
There you go. You guys continue walking for another 5 minutes or so. Again, still occasionally seeing something like a rat, but they're all pretty small. They're all maybe like as big as your foot at most, and most of them are smaller than that. Everybody make a survival check, please.
Oh, Christ.
There's a roll we probably haven't done this whole
You've been
campaign.
breathing in toxin the whole
Oh, this
time.
isn't going to be good.
You are turning into a fungus.
with
Ooh,
breathing
ooh.
stuff, you should have a benefit, Sean.
A 2.
Oh my god.
I can CPR Karash. I think. I
Oh.
rolled a 12.
Okay.
Or
Gothak
got
has a 19.
Hey.
So, Karash, distracted thinking about basilisks now.
Basilisk. Oh, that actually does sound
Remember
really
my
bad.
persuasion rolls from before?
Right.
How good they were.
You're looking around trying to find evidence of a basilisk, and now all of a sudden you look up Karash and you have no sense of where north is anymore. All you have is a sense of there doesn't seem to be any basilisks, but I'm looking for them now. Stuart, you have a pretty good thought, and as you guys start to head in one direction, you kind of feel uneasy about it, and Gothak kind of stops and says, "Hold, friend. I think it's actually this way," and he turns you back in what ultimately is the correct direction, maintaining north. I do need everyone to finally make a Constitution check, please.
Oh, God in
Or
heaven
saving
now.
throw, same idea, at this level at least.
Where did my thing go?
Constitution.
Please don't be an auto fit.
No, no, no,
13.
it's like the...
Natural 20.
There it is.
God damn.
Jeez. Hold your horses.
Go Gothic.
117-20.
He's all over the map.
Which one, Chris? Endurance?
Constitution.
Constitution.
You go ahead and roll endurance. We'll wait.
Here we go. And it...
Oh, 21. Natural 20.
Nice.
I have the most Constitution. I
Natural
never get
20s
sick.
and a high roll. As you guys are progressing further in here, and you've been here for almost 20 minutes now, you're noticing that the air is stale, but it's also thinner than it should be, which is to say, like, there is oxygen down here, but it does feel like, maybe just because of the way that these are sealed off or the limited access points to the surface, that you're not getting quite as much air as you should. And that it's not an imminent threat, but that prolonged exposure down here, when we're talking like an hour or so, not minutes, could end up resulting in you tiring out more quickly or it just being kind of dangerous in general.
That's okay. I'm used to it with my mask. It's like one of those oxygen deprivation that people train with.
Right. And then the way
You into that, Stuart?
Yeah. I sure am.
Stuart CrossFits.
But so far, proceeding without incident.